Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff, betting stuff.
How?
Good chow is the sound effect to let you know that the real medical degenerate Alex is here.
That's me.
I am the original degenerate Muff. Unfortunately, the Ohio Homer, the man who thinks that Dwayne Haskins will be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the gentleman who likes to tout Ohio State all things at any point, all day, every day, Jim, will not be present today.
I think the ultimate Ohio Homer move so far has been the fact that he's very adamant Dwayne Haskins will be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, and totally just glossing over the fact of every other signing Pittsburgh had.
Yes, absolutely.
But
that's not why we're here today.
That is not why we're here. We are here to talk March Madness.
Madness.
It's the madness.
I was gonna say, was that kind of like it's just kind of dead without him?
Yeah, we don't have the madness. I know I'm not doing it justice, but it is what it is. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a brief recap of round 1 and round 2 of the tournament. Some of our picks, our highlights, our records. We will include Jim's.
We will.
Because Jim did make round 1 picks. He did not make any round 2 picks. I only had one day of round 2 covered. Alex,
I did all the rounds.
Was full degenerate mode over the weekend.
This year's Muff. Last year, Muff said he's betting on every single game. This year, I will bet on every single game.
I said I was going to do it this year, but unfortunately, the weekend got the best of me. Got the best of me. So, and then we will go into our Sweet 16 matchup picks for Thursday. This should be coming out Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So if you get a chance, listen before then, tail us, get on our level, bet all the games.
Do it.
So quick recap. Round 1 records. I, Muff, 14-14. Alex, 13-15. And Jim, 13-15-1. Jim had an extra bet on one game.
Honestly, I'm proud of us.
That's a pretty good overall record.
I mean, especially for all three of us to be like that. I mean, now we had a lot of similar ideas, but I mean, a lot of our similar ideas were like the chalk ideas. Mm-hmm. But now, does Jim jump me because he has the one, or are we still tied? A tie just is nothing, right?
So a tie in this case does not have any real bearing. If anything, you would be slightly ahead because you have the opportunity to win another game and be 14-15. So I think officially you would be ahead of Jim, but you could also, if right. I mean, for me, it's a tie. Because you won the same amount of games with less games bet.
Exactly.
But for us, it's a tie. Just looking through here. Let's look through some of the lowlights. We all took the under Montana State, Texas Tech, 132.5, and that was a big old loss. We all took Duke to cover 18.5. That was a loss. Davidson, Michigan State was Jim's push. Michigan State -1. And
we should tell Jim we'd at least pushed.
Should have been money line. And then I took the under in that game. You took Davidson money line. We both lost. Let's see. Are there any other big L's? Kentucky to cover. Big old loss in the first round for us.
Yeah, that was a big loss at most of the continental United States.
Yeah. Big problems there. We all took Virginia Tech money line. They lost outright.
And I don't know. As a West Virginia fan, I should have known it was too sketchy to take Virginia Tech.
It's true. We all took Iowa to cover. Iowa also lost first round to Richmond, the Spiders.
I think we should highlight for Jim, Ohio State money line. You and I took Loyola money line.
Sure, you can highlight that. I won't.
As the middle ground, as the Switzerland of the podcast, I will highlight both the good and bad.
Hey, all I gotta say is Ohio State's head coach is photo op with Sister Jean, so
yes,
that man's all about the Jeebus too. San Diego State we took to cover. That was a loss for us. That wraps up all losses. Now let's see, where did we all win? We all took Memphis to cover over Boise State. That was a win in round one. We all got a piece of the winning action with the Georgia State Gonzaga game. Jim and I on the over, you with Gonzaga to cover.
yes.
We all were winners in Vermont +5, which Vermont, I think, lost by 2 or 3.
Yeah, I took Vermont money line as well in that one. I mean, obviously that part of it lost, but it's kind of sad.
We all were winners. Maybe not. Looks like we've
Akron, UCLA.
We've reached a
Wait,
problem.
how are we all? Something is not correct here.
UCLA -14, I think, is the losing end. So your win-loss there may not be accurate then.
No, I shouldn't have pointed it out.
You may be 12 and 16. Yikes!
Sounds so much worse.
It really does. That one really gets you. It's really a bugaboo. And we all had Auburn to cover.
Yes.
Against Jacksonville State, because as everyone remembers, Jacksonville State, the only reason they were in the tournament is because they were regular season champions, in the Atlantic Sun and Bellarmine, the team who won the tournament, was not eligible.
Yes.
So boo hiss on that situation. We all had Iowa State. Well, we all got money on the Iowa State game. Jim and I, Iowa State +4. Iowa State went outright, and you had the under in that game.
Under.
So there's a very brief recap of what happened, the lowlights and the highlights there for the group. Round 2, Saturday, Sunday games. I only got into the action on Saturday, and I went 5 and 3. I took the over in Creighton, Kansas. I took the over in Michigan, Tennessee. I took Providence to cover 2.5. I took the over in St. Peter's, Murray State, and I took New Mexico State +6.5 versus Arkansas. Those are my wins. My losses: Baylor to cover. Baylor lost outright to North Carolina. Come on, raise up. I also took a loss. St. Mary's +points. UCLA won pretty handedly in that game, and I took Gonzaga to cover, and Gonzaga squeaked out a win against Memphis and Anthony Penny Hardaway. How did your round 2 go, Alex?
My round 2 went well. Saturday, I was 4 and 4. I won Memphis +10.5, New Mexico State +6.5, St. Peter's +9, and North Carolina +5.5. So basically, if I took the underdog to cover their spread, I did pretty well. I lost Kansas -12, Tennessee -5.5, St. Mary's +3, and the over 133 in Richmond and Providence. I also continued to bet for Sunday and went 5 and 3. So that was my best day, actually. It was my only winning, quote unquote, winning record day. I had Houston -4.5 at Illinois was a win. Duke -6.5. Versus Michigan State was a win. Iowa State +4.5, Notre Dame +8, and Purdue -3.5 were all wins. My 3 losses that day were Arizona -10 versus TCU, Auburn -7.5 versus Miami, and Ohio State +5.5 versus Villanova. So overall, what did I say I was overall?
9-7.
Yeah.
Second round. So, yep. Alex, 9-7 plus, unfortunately, we had to do a little recount there.
Did we recount for sure?
21 and 23 for the first 2 rounds, Alex. I was 19 and 17 in the first 2 rounds, and Jim 13, 15 and 1 because he did not put any bets down round 2. So again, still as a group, collectively, we're all around 500, which means we're down units in the end overall. But
yeah.
If we compare this to what we did in football season, it's not bad.
No, and we're having fun. That's all that matters. Let's be honest. At least that's how I'm going to look at it.
That's how we should look at it. Next, we get into the Sweet 16.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll tell you what I didn't do. I did not bring up my stats page. So.
Oh, Muff.
It's okay.
On that.
Don't worry. I can still get there. Basketball. Jones.
Getting down in Dribble Town.
So, in the first game that we have on the slate here, we have so I shared this, Alex, off air with Jim.
Yes.
Well, off air, when I say off air, in a conversation with Jim another day, there is a very, very evident factor with the teams remaining is that none of them are really heavy 3-point shooting teams as far as getting points from 3-pointers. There has been some information that I've heard on some other podcasts that the NCAA introduced a new basketball that has not in circulation.
The bright orange.
Yeah, it is not in circulation prior to the tournament. Something that I did not know is that there is no regulation in NCAA basketball, even within conferences, that they have to use a specific ball. It is a team decision, which I guess I'm sure there's balls to choose from, but it's a team's decision which ball they use throughout the season.
That shocks me.
If I would have known this prior to, I would have probably taken a lot more unders.
Yeah. Interesting. I did not know that. I just assumed there'd be like one ball that all of the NCAA uses.
I thought so too, because I played high school basketball. You played high school basketball.
Yeah.
Everybody's using the same ball.
Yeah. Period.
Period. There wasn't an option.
They did the weird hold it up, drop it thing, bounce to a certain level, and lots of rules.
Whenever I was in school, it was the Wilson Jet. That's what everyone used.
Ours was a Wilson, but I'm trying to remember what probably was the Jet.
Yeah, we used the Jet. There may have been other renditions of the Jet, but we were using the Wilson Jet ball. But yeah, that was just an interesting tidbit that I was like, if this had been divulged to me, I would have felt differently about some things. That being said, Arkansas taking on Gonzaga. Gonzaga -9 over under 154. We are on different roads of this one. Jim and I, so Jim did phone in his picks, so we have those. Jim and I are both on Gonzaga -9. Alex, you are on Arkansas +9.
I am. I think Gonzaga is going to win this game, but I think Arkansas keeps it closer than we expect. Gonzaga hasn't shown me much that is like a blow every team out of the water. Kind of obviously, I mean, they just played Memphis close. They played relatively, I don't know. They don't have blow it out mentality. I think 9's a good number. I'm not saying they wouldn't win by 6 or 7. I don't think it's gonna be like a buzzer beater. I just don't ever see it being a runaway game. So I'm going to stick with Arkansas +9.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking. So Arkansas has been playing above their season averages as far as offensive efficiency. So the amount of possessions they score a point. So they've been playing above their season average, and Gonzaga has actually been playing below their season average in offensive efficiency, as well as possessions per game. I think Gonzaga comes off a week of rest and is ready just to take it to Arkansas in this game, make easy work of them. And to the comment I made earlier, both of these teams, if I remember correctly from the stats, are in the outside of the top 150 in percentage of their points from 3-point range. Gonzaga a little bit more than Arkansas, but both teams are say not very great defending against the three, or at least the opponent's percentage points from 3-point range, but neither teams shoot relatively well from the 3-point range. So in a game of possessions and half-court basketball, I see Gonzaga coming out triumphant in this one.
I feel like you just almost talked me into an under.
Well, they've also had a week to get used to that new ball.
I know.
So I don't know.
Now I don't want to hop on a bunch of unders and be like,
right. Yeah. Has Vegas moved the lines appropriately?
Yeah, exactly.
Who am I kidding? Vegas knew that there was going to be a new ball.
Yeah, they knew.
They knew.
They know
Vegas knew. Hashtag Vegas knew. So, yeah, and again, Jim is on Gonzaga to cover -9. Next, we have Michigan taking on Villanova. Villanova -4.5, over under 135.5. That being said, Alex, Villanova is the one team that's, I think, in the top 30 or 40 in the percentage of points from 3-point range.
Really?
Villanova gets almost 39% of their points from beyond the arc. They are the only team in like that top 50 range left in the tournament.
Motivating for the over there.
Motivating for the over.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I'm on the over. Yeah, I'm on the over just based on all offensive stats and the fact that neither of these teams are very solid defensively, at least in opponent floor percentage, which again, going back to last week, opponent floor percentage is the percentage of points that a team's opponent scores on, percentage of possessions. Michigan is almost allowing a 50% for the season. They've been pouring it on over the last 3 games. But for the season, they're almost at like that 50% number. So in this case, I see Villanova putting up points and Michigan struggling to keep up, but doing enough to get us to the over 135.5.
I don't hate that. That's a good pick. I like Villanova -4.5 in this game. I think they take care of business. I think Michigan had a nice run in the tournament, but it's time.
It's time.
It's time. Put them down. And I'm shocked by Jim's pick.
Right. Jim is on Michigan +4.5. I feel like Jim has talked himself into being a fan of Juwan Howard.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I'm ready to put this back in his face come football season.
Yes.
So
this will be fun.
This will be discussion. Next is Texas Tech taking on Duke. Texas Tech favored by 1.5 points, over under 136.5 points. I'll let you.
This is one of the games I'm a little more excited for as far as watching. I think it's going to be a good game. I will reveal that I have picked under 136.5. Texas Tech is a good defensive team. Duke is a good offensive team. I think that this is like a back and forth battle, kind of almost to what you were saying about Gonzaga. I do think Duke wins this game, so I don't dislike the Duke money line pick. If I was picking something other than the under or between those two, but I'm going to stick with the under 136.5.
Okay, I am on Duke money line, and so is Jim. I trust Duke's offense more than I trust Texas Tech's offense.
Oh, for sure.
Duke has weapons. They got Paolo Banchero, Wendell Moore Jr. They've got Theo John off the bench. They got some dudes. Texas Tech is a lockdown defensive team. And Duke's defense is absolutely awful. They're garbage, but I don't trust Texas Tech's offense enough this game to do anything. I would have probably rather been on the over-under, but I don't know what's going to give. I really don't. So I just went with the underdog money line and Duke and Coach K.
I like it.
Again, this pains me, but I'm going to go with Coach K.
I'm glad you can put your biases aside.
Sometimes you have to in the betting world. Next, I think my record in spite picks is 0 and everything. Yes. Houston, Arizona -2, over under 145.5. Jim is on Houston +2. Alex is on
Houston money line. Don't give me. I'm not. It's Sweet 16. Well, I'm not +2 money line.
I'm not +2. Not +2ing here.
No, in the Sweet 16.
I am on Arizona to cover. Arizona is a superior offensive team to the tune of if I had to handicap this game, if somebody was asking me to handicap this game, I would have been Arizona -4, -5. Based on the offensive statistics. Defensively, Houston is a better defensive team. Houston, I think if Houston is going to stay in this game, is going to win this game, it's going to be from behind the arc, because Houston gets almost 32% of its points from 3-point range. And Arizona gives almost 33% of its points to opponents from the 3-point range. That being said, Houston is not going to be a hot shooting team. Give me Arizona. And if I had to make this line, I'd make it Arizona -4 or Arizona -5.
Put your money where your mouth is. Buy the points. Can you buy points in basketball?
I don't know if you can buy points in these games. I don't think I've seen the option, but I haven't dug deep.
Exactly.
Dug deep into the FanDuel.
Find the option.
Right. It looked. Next in the game that all eyes will be on, St. Peter's taking on the Boilermakers of Purdue.
Peacocks.
Peacocks versus Boilermakers. Is there a drink called a peacock? I don't think so. Never heard of a drink called a peacock. I was thinking if we could make this the battle of the battle of the alcoholic beverages.
That's the battle of beverages.
I don't know. I'm sure there is. There's got to be a peacock drink. Why not? People aren't thinking this is going to be a game, though. Purdue is favored by 12.5 points with an over-under of 136.5. Jim and I are both on the over, 136.5. I think this was more of a feel pick for me. I wasn't feeling a line. It's 12.5, which is tough to pick to cover either way. Given if I had to go in the spread, I'd pick St. Peter's plus the points. I just think this is where St. Peter's run ends.
Well, I definitely think that St. Peter's run ends here, but I think they don't get crushed. I think they cover 12.5. So
like I said, if I had to bet on the spread, I'd pick St. Peter's plus. I just feel a little bit more confident in the over. This is for me another one of those, even if Purdue does jump out by like 20, 25 points, I still think St. Peter's is going to have a run in them, and Purdue's just going to try to keep that 10 to 15 point lead. So it's just going to go back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty confident in my St. Peter's plus 12.5 here.
I like it. Next, Providence taking on Kansas. Kansas -7 over under 141.5. It is unanimous in this game. What are we all on, Alex?
Kansas -7. This was a tough one for me because originally I was Providence +7, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I've been on Kansas all year. I've watched Kansas a lot as a Big 12 person. Give me Kansas confidently.
Yeah, and I think Kansas they have the edge in defense, especially over the last week or two, like in the conference championships. And that's where I see Kansas making their hay in this one. Is they just lock down Providence, and Kansas wins by 10 plus. That's my guess. So
I concur, obviously, because we're all on it. Does it make you nervous? You and Jim have a lot in common here.
I think it should make Jim nervous. Doesn't make me nervous. I know why I picked him. I don't know if Jim knows why he picked him.
That's true. Moving on to your team, the UNC Tar Heels versus the UCLA Bruins.
A less appealing U beginning acronym.
UCLA. I have liked UCLA this entire tournament, to be honest. I think they're a balanced team. I think they play a pretty complete game. I think this is a good matchup for them. I think UNC is also, a good matchup for us as a fan. As far as
right.
I think you can go either way in this, but I like UCLA -2.5.
Yeah, and I'm going to be real honest with the world. Offensive stats point towards UNC. Defensive stats point towards UCLA. I'm taking UNC money line. I should not be doing this because I have bet against North Carolina the entire tournament, and they've proven me wrong. And I feel like as a fan, I should continue to do that. Just like, wearing the same socks, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I just can't leave myself to do it. I have to, in the Sweet 16, support North Carolina.
There you go. Maybe they were just waiting for your support.
What, to lose?
Well, I guess that's a good point.
If they lose, here we go. If they lose, I'll blame it on me. If they win, I'll say I made a good pick.
There you go.
This is my fault, North Carolina. North Carolina, if you lose this game, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's not Hubert Davis' fault. It's not the players. It's my fault.
I like the ownership you're taking there.
I apologize in advance if they lose. Take it from here. Apologies. I apologize. And in the last game, in the Sweet 16, Iowa State taking on Miami, Florida. Miami favored by 2.5 points, over under 133. This is what, a 10-11 matchup?
Yeah, it's double digits.
Yeah, it's the rare double digit, both seeds matchup. What are we all on here? You and I are both on the same team. I'm gonna take the points plus 2.5. You are gonna take the money line.
Yep, Sweet 16. We're not doing money. We're not doing points here, and no 2 points. Money line, confidently. Big 12. Let's go.
And that, to be honest, that's why I'm on a Iowa State Big 12. Although at this point, the ACC has just as many teams as any other conference at this point. Actually, I think they have more. They have 3, right? North Carolina, Miami, Duke. What's the Big 12 have left? Iowa State,
Kansas, Texas Tech, and Iowa State.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm taking Iowa State to cover based on their defensive stats here. And I think Miami's a pretender offensively a little bit. And I think Iowa State exposes them. So should I take the money line? I should. If I can get 2.5 points in a close game, why not take them?
I like it.
And then Jim is on the over.
Jim is on the over. That's 133. I don't know. I wouldn't take it over an Iowa State game, but Jim's gonna do what Jim wants to do.
Right. I have this game handicapped at 134.
Right.
If I were to put an over under out there, I'd put it at 134.
That's what'll make or break it for you. Well, we'll see if the game's at 135, 133.5. So I guess if the game ends at 133.
That's what I just wouldn't be confident in taking an over or an under because I'm pretty much right with where it's at.
I got you.
Yeah.
It's fair.
It's fair. So I think, wasn't there a promise that Mac was going to make an appearance tonight?
Was there? I think there was a promise that Mac was going to make an appearance on the next show with the other interns. He gets by himself.
He needs time with his deep dark thoughts.
Yeah, he's like living the time of his life out there at the women's tournament. So it's made me a little nervous. Hope he doesn't find himself on Mrs. Mac.
Return of the Mac.
Oh gosh.
So, all right. Well, that's the recap of last week from most of it, and the upcoming Sweet 16. Please listen, follow, rate, review, all of the things on social media at Sports Gym Muff on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Get us on the YouTube. We've been doing some good things on the social medias recently.
True. The Twitter sphere. We're pretty fun. Interact, enjoy it, give yourself something to think about the day other than work and all the other BS going on in the world.
So when the Sweet 16 picks make us bajillionaires, Alex.
Woohoo, cash money.
When North Carolina makes it to the Elite Eight, and when who's the team you're rooting for? You rooting for the Peacocks?
Yeah, the Peacocks.
Peacocks of the only Jesuit school left in the tournament make the Elite Eight.
Out of all the ones that started.
Loyola Chicago is a Jesuit school.
Sorry, you're right. Go on.
What type of night are we going to have, Alex?
A good night.